everybody. Thanks for watching. I'm Chris. I'm going to get to some fantasy finals talk in just a second. First, some talk about the schedule. So we don't want you playing season-long fantasy football in Week 17. Your championship should be resolved this week. However, we are still going to do 2 episodes on this channel next week. It's going to be sort of the look-ahead stuff, look at 2019, maybe a little summarizing stuff for the fun things that we saw in 2018. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And then into the new year, we're actually not sure what our schedule will be yet, but hopefully you'll stay subscribed to the channel. And honestly, just can't thank you enough for how quickly and robustly this channel grew over the course of this season, and for your dedicated fandom. We really appreciate it. Okay, so the guy I want to start the show with today, Kenny Golladay, wasn't very good 2 weeks ago, but sure came through against Buffalo. I hope he helped you into your finals. If you listen to the Harris Football Podcast, you hear about Kenny Golladay just about every week. I was on him really early. I showed you film here on this channel. I think he's going to be a superstar. But in the 5 games since Marvin Jones's injury, I mean, here they are. How could I argue it hasn't been a bumpy road? Using Golladay Week 14 was a one-way ticket to losing your playoff game, and using him last week, as I mentioned, a nice leg up toward winning. In a second, we'll take a look at what he did so well last week in Buffalo.
No scooch. 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 No scooch. Now that's a scooch.
Yeah.
No scooch. Scooch. No scooch. You need a scooch.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get back at it with Golladay, and my goal here is to try and explain why I think this player just looks different. Here, he's the split end, bottom of your screen, and he's matched against Tre'Davious White, very good corner. This is just a shot play, a go route, nothing fancy. And what I want you to notice is the instinct Golladay has, good coverage, actually turns out to be interference, but tight coverage, and Golladay knows exactly when to flatten out, lay out, backward. That's just uncommon. I don't see it a lot, especially for a big man, 6'4", doing that. I don't see a lot of big dudes being able to do that. How about this one? Here Golladay is the split end, again, now top of your screen, and it's sort of a gentle out and up, right? I don't think Golladay is your primary target here, but Matthew Stafford scrambles around and decides to just take another shot, trust his guy is going to win. And this one is less immediately athletically ridiculous and special, but will take size. And will take, being bigger than the corner and being able to reach up at just the right moment, which is kind of an undervalued skill, that sort of just coordination, super coordination, and snatch it away once again from Tre'Davious White. And if you put him in the slot, and the opposing defense has to match a linebacker against him, that's not fair. Just block a little bit for Stafford, and Golladay puts his foot in the ground, and some linebacker just isn't going to be able to stick with him. And if you want to see a young dude who I just think sometimes wills himself into a great play, I'll submit this one. That's not a good throw. That's a throw deep into traffic along the sidelines. I think that's an interception 99 times out of 100, but Kenny Golladay comes back and jumps over the dude and somehow gets his arms on the ball and just rips it away. I think physically imposing, willing to be physical, I think that guy's going to be really good. But of course, we're not talking about long-term, we're not talking about dynasty, we're not talking about 2019, we're talking about whether you use Golladay maybe as a flex in Week 16, and I hate the matchup against the Vikings. Absolutely hate it. They're really tough on opposing quarterbacks and wide receivers. They have the physical players to do some work against Kenny Golladay. In Minnesota earlier in the year, Golladay had 3 catches for 46 yards. So what we're talking about here is some pretty extreme variance. I think if you're willing to embrace some risk in your championship lineup, and I tend to roll that way, I tend to want upside, especially in this crazy scoring NFL. I mean, my flex crossover point among running backs is going to be high, like, mean, David Johnson, I'd probably play Johnson over Golladay, but it's close. However, if I felt like I were a favorite and just wanted to make sure I got something out of that position, a lot lower on the running back list, maybe like Kalen Ballage. And you can see all my ranks at harrisfootball.com. I'm excited about Golladay, but I recognize week to week, a lot of downside. All right, well, let's take a look at our final week of regular season NFL handicapping. I guess I had a bad week coming my way. Boy, I think I started last week 2-10 against the spread, and I won the final 3. Trying to put in my rear view, as always. I predict what I think the line should be before I see the actual lines and make my picks accordingly. These are the Westgate Super Contest lines. 2 games where I had meaningful gaps in my line. I see value on the Texans in Philadelphia. I make that more of a pick'em type of spread. And I don't know, the Rams going to Arizona. Maybe they finally really are about to paste one on the Cardinals. But this spread, well, it tells me the Rams, if it were home, would be favored by 20. That offense has not functioned like that for a little while here. So I guess I'm willing to take the points. I don't like the Cardinals, but it's a lot of points. One of 6 home dogs I'll be on this week. All right, so let's wrap up the week. I'll show you 5 more things. So emptying out my notebook, things I saw watching all the games from week 15, championship week. Hopefully some of what I've got here is useful, and at least one of them hopefully kind of funny. George Kittle frustrated at just the wrong moment for fantasy. 3 catches, 51 yards. Hadn't been out of double-digit PPR fantasy points since week 6. I just wanted to show you 2 first-half throws, and his day might have been real different. This is one where he gets a step, and it's double coverage, and it's just like half too far, off his hand, can't quite reach it. But that's just prologue for this one. Second quarter, Seahawks playing zone, and the linebacker reacts to Kittle's seam route too slowly, and Kittle is gone. This is a 71-yard touchdown, and we're not having this conversation, but Nick Mullins overthrows it, which, listen, Nick Mullins isn't great, and sometimes he'll overthrow things. The Bears in Week 16, hard matchup. Guaranteed nothing, but I show you all this by way of saying I'm going to keep using George Kittle. You want to know what's been missing from David Johnson's game? I think you know this. Here he's right slot, and it's a pretty simple little crossing combination route to get a rub, right? But that's linebacker Deion Jones on Johnson, and that is not going to work. That's a lovely throw by Josh Rosen, DJ's longest reception of the entire season. Couple plays later, same drive, you'll see him lined up in the backfield and runs a little arrow route against a soft zone. Love it, wide open, gets another 15 yards, almost scores. And then Johnson cleans it up with the short touchdown. The notion that changing offensive coordinators was going to change DJ's fate as a pass catcher turned out misguided. Surprise. A very simple explanation didn't turn out to fix everything all at once. But to me, there's no question the talent is still there. It's just a mess around him. I can't tell you what the Cardinals do in any given game, but I would be starting David Johnson. Okay, this is just for humor's sake, and maybe you've already seen it. This is 49ers kickoff return. It came right after Seattle's first touchdown. And in particular, I'd like you to pay attention to kicker Sebastian Janikowski, who appears very clear on the notion that he doesn't get money or fantasy points for trying to impede a returner who's about to score a touchdown. Nice effort, Seabass. Okay, periodically I get emails saying, come on man, Dak Prescott has reinvented himself. How can you not view him as a surefire fantasy starter for these playoffs? A play like this is how. This is a 3rd and 1 during the world's most frustrating first half for the Cowboys. And they cross up the Colts. It's not a run play. They roll Prescott out, and he throws the thing 5 feet over Amari Cooper's head. On schedule, I'll admit Prescott has turned into a more effective player second half of this year. Boy, I see this. Do I trust him? I really have to admit, even against Tampa, I don't have him ranked as a fantasy starter. I don't trust him. And lastly, Chris Carson. What I love about Carson is embodied in this play. This is 4th and 1, losing by a touchdown, 4th quarter. Seattle goes for it. They have to have it. This dude is just strong. He's nails. He's not down till he's down. Strong like bull. You get pure, honest, hardworking, tough play from Chris Carson, and he's super usable Sunday against the Chiefs. I'd be playing him. And this play was a good result too. There's nothing to criticize when your back gains 21 yards. It's pretty wide open. He basically runs straight forward. What I wanted you to pay attention to is what happens when it's man on man against the safety there, number 38. One-on-one, and Carson tries to put his foot in the ground and explode, and he just can't. There's nothing there. It's not his game. Hard to knock him down, but not that hard to stay with him in the open field. If we ever wonder why Chris Carson doesn't get mentioned among the elites, why Rashad Penny is on that team, I think that's the answer. I don't think Chris Carson is really the driver of a great offense. He's more a passenger when he gets the work. And that's it for this week. Thanks so much for watching. Like I said, we will be back Thursday and Friday of next week with a couple of other videos that are less about what just happened in Week 16, more about what happened this season and maybe what we expect to happen in 2019. Until then, thanks for watching again, and go get that championship! Thanks so much for watching. Please, please, please smash that like button, write a comment, tell us who else you'd like to see us review film on, and of course, best of all, please subscribe to our channel and then click that little bell above the subscribe button and you'll be notified whenever we post a new video.